All right, so welcome back. This was a forex strategy. Basically, I wanted to show you guys if it is making sense on this particular strategy, right? So let me know what you think. So this is a little something I developed and I came up with um recently on this particular strategy, right? So um it works on any currency pair, and I'm going to use the Euro USD, right? So what this strategy does, it is a trend strategy, trend, following the trend. You know, in terms of what they say in Forex, um, the trend is your friend. Ah, that is so true. The trend is your friend. If you ain't know to follow the trend, well, I'm sorry, it's gonna be your worst enemy, right? Um, so let's zoom. So let's zoom and go to. Hey, Alia, Alia, live on YouTube now, and everybody can hear Alia. All right. So the trend is your friend, and in terms of forex trading, right? So, right, so I'm on the 4 hours chart, and well, you know, it take 4 hours to form practically one candlestick, right? So the trend is your friend, and practically, what I want you guys to do is to add the period separator, right? So you come down to properties, you go in, come on, and you see show period separate. Now your broker doesn't show you that. So if I untick it with you guys, it will be plain, right? If I go back and you would probably have the grid. So yours would look like this. No, you don't want to use that because the broker, when you download the MT4, the broker don't automatically give you these things. They try to hide it from you, okay? They try to hide it from you. So we don't use the grid in this strategy. Um, so you go back to properties, you remove the grid, and you do show period, right? Now this period, it's defined as the 15 minutes between this to this line, this whole scenario here would be 1 day of trading. So between here to here, this would be practically 1 day of trading and 1 day of trading. Follow me, right? So we are going to the forward chart. Now, from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, that will basically be 1 week of trading. This here to here, 1 week of trading, right? And if I go to the day chart, from here to here, that will basically be 1 month of trading. So in terms, you ever heard about market direction, follow the trend, and in terms of um you need to find um the daily high, the weekly high, and the monthly high. So to do more in depth on research on that, I could probably make a video. But in doing all these things, but you can get into my Forex course where I'm talking about practically a lot from basics to advance in that Forex course, right? So um so for example, this would be I'm on the day one chart, right? So this would take from here to here practically 1 month to form this structure here. Now, if I draw my um a lot of people would draw a support, I mean a resistance, and somebody would draw like probably a support because you see price it bounce here once, it come back here, so it might look to bounce there again, etc. Right? So in other terms, you would also find another resistance line up here. So as you could see, price respected that zone. So in terms of March 2020, when the 1st of March, the candlestick open, let me move this, the candlestick open right over here. And within that first couple of days, it went up to meet its new high for the month, right? Which it respected this particular resistance line of previous months, and it practically went down, break I believe that was January high, January high, December high. Break went down and break February's low and formed a new low. So in other terms, you would look for um direction with your trends. A lot of us would probably draw like a support line, like would have drawn that support line right here. So and see where price bounce and respect previous supports. So you can see touch perfectly over here and it went back up for a couple of days in March. So this would have been your high and this would have been your low. So for example, since this is your low, my indicator indicated that it's going up, right? But it has went all this high before my indicator give me this previous high, right? So that's a lot of money lost. But if I go to a lower time frame, my indicator would have gotten me in very early, like around here. So if I did like a 1 hour as well, my indicator would have said would have gotten me in here, and this would have been the retracement, and practically it would have taken me up, right? So today I'm here to talk about my new strategy, right? So I explain a bit to you on um monthly, daily, and practically all the highs and lows. You need to find those things first. You cannot trade without knowing where market direction is, right? So um so for example, a lot of us like to trade the 15 minutes chart, and you would hear find the high and low of the day, and you can trade um practically the high and the low of that particular day. So let me show you a scenario where I lost some money recently by forgetting and not applying by my own strategy and rules, right? So let me show you something. So let's use this chart and this chart for example, right? Now they talk about um just one sec, right? Tools option. Just one sec, right, guys? I'm looking. There is something to change. The settings in this. I need to figure out that. I can't remember how to change the settings in this thing. Customize. Um, I'm looking for, I believe. All right, so I'm not finding. I can't remember where that settings is, right? But we would work with what we have. Right, so this chart and practically this chart, right? Where is this settings? I cannot remember. Where are you? Uh, uh, view, toolbar, chart, customize. Maybe it's probably here. Not sure. Okay, so anyway, let's forget that. All right, so we are using this one and we are using this one here. Now, let's say I'm going to do it. It do even have a pencil here. My God, this ain't so difficult. Okay, follow me, right? If I come up and I come down and I come up and I come down, right? Now here would be the lowest point of that day, right? Here would be the lowest point of that day, and here would be the highest point of that day, right? So here would be the lowest, and here would be the highest point of that day. So this green arrow would be the lowest, and this purple arrow would be the highest point of that day. So you would hear traders talking about um they're gonna trade. So this session here would be the New York session, right? And this session here would be practically this session here would be the London session, Turkish. Here would be like New York and London mix and the Asian session, right? So you would hear traders talking about they trade the high and low of the day. Yes, it has money to make if you could find the high and low of the day, right? So for example, um let's say I spotted the low of the day and then this would be the high of the day. Now, how would I know to determine the highs and lows of the day? You'll also get that in my Forex course as well. It's a bit too much to explain. So let's say this is the high of the day, right? This is the low of the day. Now, when market reach a certain height, it makes a reversal, right? Either up or either down. So it went. This is this one. Oh, excuse me. Since this was the high of the day, obviously the market will come down, right? Now, I did spot the low of this day over here, right? And during the New York session, I said this was the high of the day, and the market went down. But I was expecting for the market to form a new low, and the market practically reversed up on me in like 15 minutes time, and I said, hey, it's gonna come back down, and then it went all the way up and it continued going up, and I lost my trade, and it continued going up for like a day and almost 2 days till it make a dip, and it still continued going up. So yes, getting the highs and lows of the day is very important, but something that I learned in Forex recently um is sticking with your own rules, right? And you know, just stick with your own rules and learn to follow the trends. So for example, if I go to the hour chart, I would basically see, right guys, I'll basically see which part I was just now. Um I speak about here and I speak about here, and this was the high of the day, low of the day, right? Low of the day, high of the day, low of the day, high of the day. Sorry, I'm just getting some disturbance in the background, right, guys? Um, all right, I think they got. So this was the low of the day, high of the day, and the previous day I said, okay, um, this was the low and this was the high. So I entered for a down for short, and then it made this candle in the hour. And I said, hey, it's gonna come back down, and market never come back down. It continued going back up on me, right? What was my trial and error there? Okay, now if you realize how the market moves, it moves in waves, right? And you would see this is a downtrend. The market moves in waves, up, down, 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 up, a little down, up, little down, up, down. Market moves in waves, right? But most of it here was some perfect waves. But most of the time, you cannot predict the size of the wave, right? So when they say the trend is your friend, you need to respect the trend, all right? If the trend is down, only make sells. If the trend is up, only make buys. All right. So, for example, if you know that the market is on an uptrend, like previously here, the market has come up to almost 500 pips, right? So, if you know the market's in a trend, right, don't take sells, although it have sells to be made, right? Now, the mistake I made over here pertaining, I normally you look for a particular setup, and if you don't see that setup, you practically don't take the trade. All right. Now let's go back to there. Um, Now that trial and I just gained some disturbance, right? So hold on a sec. All right. All right. So one of the setup that we do look for here, market high and low of the day, you look for something called the patterns. You look for patterns, right? You look for patterns. So if you don't see a particular pattern, you don't take the trade. And one of the patterns that I do look for is um double tops, double bottoms, um head and shoulder, right? Um head and shoulder, double tops, double bottoms in terms of M's and W, right? So you don't always see this thing um cut out to be perfect, right? But since you would see that um here would be one leg of the W and then it will continue, which will be a double bottom and then it has went up. But only when I went down, I was waiting for it to go up, but I didn't really follow this mini double bottom strategy. All right. Um, so I hope you guys are hearing me properly in the video because I'm getting a lot of disturbance in my background for some reason why I don't know. Right. Um, so let's go to practically the strategy that going to show you guys. So I have this indicator that I designed um here presently, and this is my Forex strategy, and it works really good with the 1 minute the 1 hour chart, sorry. And what I do is it helps me to follow the trends. So for example, this structure coming here was the beginning, the end of the downtrend, right? The downtrend in the market. And what this indicator does, you would see is this green structure here. It alerts me and saying it turns green and it's saying, hey, um the market, it's about to go for long, in terms meaning buy, right? So the market is going for buys, so it will help me in terms of to look for buying opportunities. All right, it will help me to look for buying opportunities. So you would see from here to here, market, it gave me, it formed red, which was um from here to here, coming down to above here. So that was sell. So it gave me an opportunity to sell, and I would have gotten like about 180 pips. And you would see it give me a little reversal for up, which would have been this, this, and this. And then the market came back down, which it would give me this. Then the market came back up, which it will have given me this. And it would have given me this up, which would have been these three bars. And cells would have been this and so forth. So it has reached down to the bottom of where the market has made this was high and now this was low. Now, in terms of in terms of structure and trend, you need to draw your support and resistance line. All right, so you need to draw your support and resistance line. So I hope you guys are hearing me properly because I'm getting a lot of disturbance in my background. Next time when I'm doing a video, I'll have to go outside in the quiet by myself. Everybody's home, as you know. A lot of us is being quarantined, and you are home with family, and everybody just make noise. I'm like, all right. So I hope you guys are hearing me. Um, so you draw your support and resistance line, and you map out certain areas in the market where market will have a potential reversal. So since I draw my support and resistance here, I got an indication that hey, the market is going up, right? And it has been holding, so market will practically go up. And um for this week, this is practically a live update. So what we might see between today and tomorrow, we might see market make a little dip and continue to go up because there is a market has reached like a major support area. So he might dip to about like this structure here, and he might continue to go up about like like this area, but he might retest around this area here, right? Or he might go straight up to this area, which is about over here, and come down to make a low to test here, and then shoot all the way up to about probably here. So, right? That's just like a theory of it, and my indicator will alert me on those decisions, and I will go in for the buy. So in a market like this, you do not want to take sells, right? You do not want to take sells because the market is not really selling much, and you wouldn't find much sell opportunities because you would really find a sell opportunity here and you would find a sell opportunity here. So I took a sell opportunity like here, and that was like no sell, and I lost some money because I break my own rule structure, right? I break my own structure, and that was my mistake. So Right. So back to the strategy now. So you would see I have my indicator here. Now there's one, two, three indicators, right? Now, if the market reach here, which here was a sell opportunity, this structure here was sell. So bam, I get a signal that hey, look for buy opportunities. I got in and I'm holding. It's saying green, it's saying green, it's saying green, and I'm going. And from the time it reached, from the time the structure here give me an indication, hey, the market is going to sell. So I'm looking at support, my support line. Well, this would have been resistance here, and it break resistance, and I have gotten my alert here, break resistance. So I'm holding for an uptrend, waiting for my next resistance, which it break resistance, got an indication, it switched red, meaning sell, and so forth. So over here, it switched from red to green, and I got my indication. Bam, would have made profit. If I didn't close my trade that previous day, I would have been in loss, and depending on my entry, it might have went back down to a little loss, and then it would have pulled drastically to up here. So if I had got in like around probably here, so I would have gotten like about 440 pips. So practically, let's say on a 1 cent trade, 1 cent, let's talk 1 cent trade, I would have gotten like $44. In days, this was Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, and Monday, Sunday. Monday, Sunday, right? So this is just my little indicator setup. A lot of these forex traders have a lot of indicators that work out there, and so it's not about the perfect strategy or perfect indicator. It's not about that. Um, it's not about a special move. It's an insight on how you look at the market, how you see the market, how you picture the market, and what you can use to acquire um your pips, right? So there is no easy way out of this. I'm just moving these lines because I want to show you something again that I use to help me confirm the market structure. So I use something called moving average. Where it is, I use the 50 moving average, and it also helps me. The 50 moving average also helps me with trends because the 50 moving average, it's like a trend indicator as well, right? So you would see from here was a downtrend and here was an uptrend. Now, if the candlesticks is above the 50 moving average, it will be an uptrend. And if it's below the 50 moving average, that is a downtrend. So, how do I know when the market is about to do a reversal? All right, I use my support and resistance line, the lines that I moved previously. Right, so I use my support and resistance and I wait patiently. So All right, so let's say up here I had a resistance line and the 50 moving average is about to cross. Now when the first, let's zoom in, here was the highest, so the 50 moving average across, let's go in again. Now when the first candlestick close below the 50 moving average, closes below the 50 moving average, which would have been, I believe it was the second one, you would have entered the trade. Now if you entered the trade, um that would have been most likely here, which you would have used this one, entered the trade, and you would have got in like here. But as you got in the trade for a sell, right, the market practically went within that same hour period for a buy. Now I'm in the hour chart. Market went up within that hour for 43 pips within that hour. So I got in like here, market went up as I got in. Take me in 43 pips loss. Close, right? Went up another amount of pips. So how much pips would have been there? Would have been 650. That would have been 55, 65 pips. Market would have gotten me like 65 pips loss. So if I'm in a 1 cent trade, that would have taken me into like $6.50 loss, right? And if I hold that trade practically for this whole, now I'm in the hour chart, so here to here would have been 1 day. So I entered here and I would have made that previous day, I would have made like about, let's see, and I exit out within the last hour, I would have made, um, let's roughly put it at 60 pips. I would have made like 60 pips on that trade, right? 60 pips on that trade because the following day, when the next session opened, the market did a reversal, and then from that reversal, it went back down because the market moves in waves, right? So there is something called um the retest, right? Since the market moves in waves, the market like to retest back a certain it like to retest back a certain area. So for example, since I entered here, right, market went up and retest that area, um went back down and so forth. But since we are in a lower time frame, you would see it better on the higher time frame. So for example, here was a downtrend, right? Let's picture this is a straight downtrend. And here was the retest for here. So you would see it more in like in the forward chart. So you would see it here. So the market came down and it came back up, which it retests this area and it went back down. So normally a lot of us would like to trade the retest because um sometimes we might get in a bit too early. Some of us get in and we ride the whole trend down basically and Bob shot retest, and then a lot of us will enter from the market retest. which this retest would have been here, and you would have got him like down. All right. Now my indicator on the hour chart, um, my indicator structure, um, which was here, which my retest would have been here, right? And my indicator is saying green. You would see at the bottom, my indicator is saying green. When it switched to red, I would have entered, right? And it switched back to green. That would have been a short buy opportunity. And it switched back to red, and I would have hold for sells. All right. So another way to trade without this indicator here, without this structure, you can use a 50 moving average alone. So let's move all these indicators, right? All right. So we are moving all these indicators. So we are moving all these indicators, and I'm going to show you market structure. Now we draw our support and we draw our resistance line, support and resistance line. And the only indicator that we are using is the 50 moving average. That is all, right? So basically, when price has gone beneath the 50, you can enter for a sell, or you can wait for the market retest. All right, you can wait for the market retest. Hold on, guys. Again, I call, right? Yeah, hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Oh, good afternoon. What's up?
I thought you in foreign by calling after them and I get you now.
No, my phone was getting some trouble.
Okay. Two things. My wife iPad and she's some trouble. I don't know if he's a man might be able to solve that. It keeps saying someone about that. That's why apply to fix it and they shut it or whatever. The next thing, the box where they tell me you want to have a bedroom and they tell me the reason why it was taking so long to stream because it kind of outdated and thing. You have anything upgrade from it because it's already working?
The box, nah, don't have nothing upgraded. You might have to get a new box.
Well, you have any Amazon stick here, whatever.
Where you want a Fire Stick or Android box?
I want somewhere so I can use my TV because the box is already working. I was telling that one. If I run my call from, I think I run my call from upstairs here, downstairs here. On that way. Trying to get my movie internet box downstairs. I don't think I even run my call. You have any more of them on call? I'm only using that call.
You're talking about the internet call?
Yeah, because I carry box downstairs when I was going for it.
Yeah.
I ain't bringing back. So I tried to make my run back call. Anyway, what else? If I need it, where else?
I have an Android box and I have one Fire Stick. A customer say they come in for it, but they reach yet. So if you want it, I could give you it first preference because they pass money yet.
I have no money, so if I don't take it for you, it will be trustful. That I be customer.
Alright.
How much is the box?
You get it for $550.
Oh, okay. I have no money, so if I don't take it from you, it might be a trustful. Let me I'm going to see if I don't think I can run maybe wire for me internet boxes are running downstairs and open I think, but
yeah.
I don't think that you know to go and see what some people are or anything.
Okay, so the tablet given.
Yeah, the tablet I say I use a computer man, they might be able to say and know something about it. So I was calling you to phone before.
So it wait saying exactly.
The tablet not opening. It's getting a blank screen and it's saying what the tablet saying now? The tablet What is saying, Christian, they could have iPad, public bike,
Okay. Okay, okay. All right, I'll follow what you say. I'll do some research and I'll check it out.
Okay. So what do they shut it down?
They shut it down.
Yeah.
Probably something with the iCloud or some kind of thing. I'll check it out.
Yeah. So I'll go and see where I'm not recording and I'll go call you and I'll see where I'm going to what is what because I would like to see things inside it.
All right, no problem. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. All right, sorry about that long call, guys. Whoever is watching this video, that was very terrible of me. Facebook has this result. Sometimes I just be a very busy person, right? So, right, so once the market um once the candlestick cross on an 50 moving average, you could have ride that thing all the way down to like around here, so, and you would have gotten like 720 pips, right? 720 pips. So practically in 9 working days, you would have had made like 720 pips. That it would have been equivalent to $72. So let's say if I deposit, right? Let me show you guys this. If I deposit $100 into Forex, right? Um, if I deposit $100 into Forex and I say, hey, okay, I saw this opportunity where the trend line crosses underneath the 50 moving average, right? And I am looking at here and then probably the following day to make sure now I'm in the 1 hour chat, right? It crossed underneath the 50 moving average and I'm waiting to the next day to see where it will go, which it did retest and I'm seeing it and I'm saying, hey, I'm gonna enter for a sell over here. Now I would have put a stop loss, right? Above the 50 moving average. So from the candle, from my entry, I would have had put a a a 50 pip stop loss or 100 pip stop loss, right? It doesn't matter because sometimes you need to give the trade room to breathe. So for example, let's say what I'm talking about, give the trade room to breathe, is that over here, I entered over here, right? And now this is a whole downtrend structure. Now I entered over here after I saw the market came to a trend and I come in late in the trend, but I saw the market test here and it's gonna go back down, right? Now I entered over here and I put my stop loss about 5 pip, 10 pip, 15 pip, 20 pip. You following what I'm saying? If I put my stop loss at 10, 15 pip, like these other traders that telling you hey put your put a risk to reward ratio whatever, but I'm depositing $100 to make $72 in 9 days. That is like almost, that is more than half my returns, right? That is more than half my returns. So what I'm gonna do is, like, for example, I entered here and from here to here, that would have been like a 43 pip. So if my stop loss was 43 pip, I entered here and my stop loss was here, my stop loss line. This is my stop loss line, would have been 43 pips. This is my stop loss. I entered that here. I went down in profit. Market turned on me, and I'm in panic. I'm starting to panic, right? So my stop loss is 43 pips, 40 pips, maybe 40 pips. Market turn up, bam, hit my stop loss and went all the way down, right? Went all the way down. So if you don't understand market structure, support, trend lines, and all these things, there is no hope for you, okay? Um, there's a lot of people selling courses and they're selling you practically the wrong information because they don't even know themselves. Forex, it is free. Yes, there's a lot of good people out there that have good content, and you just have to get to the right information. I spent practically thousands of dollars trying to learn this simple thing, and a guy showed me this simple strategy, and he just say, "Hey, forex is patience. If you don't have patience, this is not for you." All right. So I had was to learn patience, right? So my stop loss is here, and let's say 43 pips, and I entered here, bam shot thing, hit my stop loss, and I'm starting to panic. Oh God, I lose money. La, 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 the market going up. I know with myself going to put a buy, a buy. I'm putting a buy, and I put a stop loss underneath here, right? I put a stop loss here now. So market stopped going up, but he reversed back down and hit my stop loss. And I'm thinking that, hey, the market is going down. I put a sell. The same thing goes again, and you only keep on losing money in forex market because the market is here to play with your emotions, right? Now, if you are trading big trades with a small accounts, you taking big lot sizes with a small account, you are going to lose money. Simple facts. Simple facts. All right. So, all right. So I'm putting, like, say, if I entered here to come all the way down, and I'm putting a 10 pip stop loss. Bam. My stop loss will get hit. 20 pip stop loss. 30 pip. 43 pips. It's gonna lose. Now you have to say, hey, am I going to lose? I need to lose a certain amount of money. If you are not in forex, if you are in forex and you here not to lose money, I'm not going to lose money, you're wrong. You always have to put in your mind, right, as a business guy, how much money I'm willing to lose to make a certain amount of money. That's just like pure facts, right? So I'm putting a stop loss of, let's say, 50 pips. So I entered here, right? And my stop loss 50 pips would have been like about like right here. So 50 pips. Right? So that's 50 pips. So it would have had almost reached my stop loss and come all the way down. So now sometimes I put a 50 pip stop loss, I put a 60 pip stop loss, a 100 pip stop loss, a 80 pip stop loss. It all depends on what you could afford to lose. Okay, guys? So in other terms, right? In other terms, um, um, you got your stop loss going, and you're gonna say, okay, I do have a risk management in my course for you to understand that, right? So um, all right, so you put your stop loss and it didn't hit, you practically ride this thing all the way down. You get through your GT. All right. So this video has been a very bit lengthy, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm sorry about the disturbance in the background phone call. First time you might be here YouTube I answer a phone call on a YouTube video is because I don't know how to pause this thing, right? I don't believe you can pause a live. I'm live streaming on Facebook. I mean YouTube, sorry. I'm live streaming on YouTube, so I don't believe that you can pause a live. But I realize that when you are doing live stuff and all these things, you practically cannot have no one around you, or your phone has to be on silent, or etc. All right. Um, all right. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. I still have to do a Forex Insider course. I did take Success Factory Forex Insider Signal provider. I do provide my own Forex signals to clients as well. So I did take Forex Insider signal provider stuff when they drop it. I took the subscription for 1 month. I tested it out for 1 month, and they did they did okay in terms of how many signals they sent out. They sent out, let's say they did about um 30 signals for the, let me say 26, 27, about 27 signals for the month of no, yes, let's say 27. 27 signals for the month of March, and they lose some signals, about, let's say they lost about 9 signals. So 27 take away 9, they had X amount of wins, and the pips to pips that loss to pips that gain in profit. Um, if you had deposit $100 account with the Forex Insider, um, you would have had gain like about 60% returns on your account. So let's say you deposit 100, you would have gained like $60, but then you have to pay for the monthly subscription fee. So you would have made like, on that particular month, you would have made like around $10 profit. So it's just your monthly subscription fee that you will have to pay continuously for, but Forex Insider work tremendously well. So in other words, you need to deposit more money to leverage more money in your Forex account to make more money. And that's just simple. So, for example, if I'm taking a 1 cent trade from here to here, I would have made like $72. If I take a 2 cent trade, I would have made like $144. 3 cent trade, I would have made like, and so forth going, right? So, if I practically did take like a a 10 cent trade, I would have made like 700 and some dollars. So it all depends on your account and how much money you are risking to lose. So for example, I was trying to say here, so I entered here, I put my 50 pip stop loss here. So in other words, that means I am taking this trade on probably $100 account or a $200 account, but let's say $100 account, right? 50 pip stop loss. So from here, I entered 50 pip stop loss would have bring on a 1 cent trade a $5 loss to make $72, right? To make $72. That is a very good risk to reward ratio when you are catching the trend. Now, if it is I taking a, let me put back this here, right? Let me put back this here. I'm going to put, for example, a 20 pip stop loss. Here would be 20 pips, 25 pips. I entered here and I put a stop loss here. Now the market hit off my stop loss. Now I want to come in this trend trade, and I'm coming in heavy, and I'm only have $100 in my account. So it's either I take a 10 cent um lot size, or I take a 20 cents lot size, or I take a dollar lot size. Now you don't want to take a whole lot, a whole standard lot on $100 account. Most you would find people would take a 10-cent lot size. So that would have been a 20 pip stop loss, or a 25 pip stop loss. If I enter that trade here and the market turn on me, I would have lost like about on a 10 cents lot size, I would have lost like, if it was 20 pips or 25 pips, I would have lost like $20 or $25. So you catch the drift. So it's all depends on your lot size to enter a trade. So deposit, if you deposit more money, you can take bigger lot size. Don't take bigger lot size with less money, because you are definitely going to panic. All right, so thank you for watching this video. Please feel free to hit the subscribe video, and if you want a next Forex video, please comment on below. Bless.